They came across a giant orca. On closer inspection, something didn't look right. The Indonesian Julian Dunjo is an experienced diver. He moved to Gorontalo, a mountainous region famous both for its breathtaking hills and its pristine waters. Year after year, tourists swarm to Sarande Island as well as to the Alele Marine Park, two of Gorontalo's most fascinating diving spots. Going on a diving tour on some of these beaches is a great way to watch wild creatures in their natural habitat. But on this day, Dunjo decided to do something different. Instead of getting into the water for one of his everyday diving tours, he accompanied a group on a fishing expedition. So Dunjo was simply accompanying the voyage with some tourists when some of the people on the boat spotted something rather curious, to say the least. Julian was ready to show the tourists the wild sea, but he had no idea that they'd get so close to the creatures. As Julian and the tourists were enjoying their boat ride, he spotted something moving underwater. What could it be? He wasn't prepared for this. The weird thing about this is that the animal that was moving underwater appeared to stay in one place. Julian is an experienced diver who isn't afraid of going under the ocean's waves. As you can imagine, he was inquisitive about the animal that attracted everyone's attention. Curiosity got the best of Julian, and he decided to check out what type of animal was causing so much commotion. Without giving it any second thought, the diver jumped into the water in the hopes of finding out what's going on with the animal. The tourists were stunned. They held their breaths as they watched Julian jump. They were afraid that it might be a shark that had gotten tangled in some fisherman's line and it would attack Julian. However, Julian didn't listen to what they had to say and did this. In an interview with the media, Julian explained no matter how dangerous that animal he would cross paths with was, he would still help it out. Thankfully, the animal was not a killer shark. However, it was a huge orca that could have killed him with a flip of a tail. Orcas are widely regarded as the most dangerous marine animal. They can weigh up to 6 tons, grow up to 23 feet long, and they are one of the ocean's most ferocious predators. Even though they're not as threatening to humans as sharks, you should still steer clear of them. However, Dunjo realized that something was wrong with the creature, so he stepped in. The poor creature appeared to be stuck, and that's why it stayed in one place. Julian saw fishing lines wrapped around it and called one of his fisherman friends to help him out. That's how the orca got stuck. As risky as this mission was, Julian knew that he needed to untangle the orca if he wanted the poor animal to survive. The orca was close to the boat, but they had to get closer to help her. She got scared and tried to scare her rescuers off. The orca got scared when it saw the boat come closer and started blowing water as if to scare Julian away. Luckily, Julian didn't bow out, and he decided to start untangling the fishing line that held the orca in place. Julian noticed the orca was getting scared and he wanted to calm it down. We all know how to calm a dog or cat, but an orca? What do you do to make her feel safe? Julian had to try something, so he decided to head over to its fin and start petting it. As risky as this move was, it worked. The orca stopped moving around and allowed Julian and his friends to help it out. As he cut through the fishing lines, Julian realized that he had to do something far more dangerous. The tourists were left awestruck. At one moment, Julian disappeared underwater and everyone got scared. The tourist who was filming this incredible moment thought the orca hit Julian. Fortunately, though, that was not the case. Julian took a big breath of air and dipped under the orca to start cutting the fishing line. This shows just how brave the hero of our story is, because we can be sure that not everyone would have had the courage to do that. What the orca did after she was set free is unbelievable. Whale Stranding Indonesia posted this video on their Facebook page explaining that this orca was entangled. So thanks to Julian's gut and courage, the magnificent creature was free once again. But instants later, the diver noticed something strange. It turns out there were further problems yet to be solved. The orca was freed from the fishing wire but still didn't move. That is when Julian pulled out a huge stick and pushed it away from the boat. The orca had no idea it was finally free and didn't even try to move away. It seems like the orca finally understood though and started slowly moving its tail. The orca was getting away from the boat and everyone started clapping. Freeing the tangled orca was no easy task, but it was all worth it in the end. Julian showed the entire world that he is brave and that his love for wild animals is great. As soon as it realized that it had been freed, the orca didn't waste any more time and started swimming away. The news went viral and people all over the world were baffled by what Dunjo had done. However, the hero of our story doesn't regret having acted that way, despite the danger he exposed himself to. On the contrary, he believes that his story will help shed light on the fact that orcas, also known as killer whales, are not so aggressive as people generally think.